Well, with us right now is author Diane Masson, and of course, if you've watched us in the past, you know she wrote the book, Your Senior Housing Options, right there. Let's get the glare off it there, and there it is, Your Senior Housing Options. Welcome.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, always good to see you.
Yes, glad to be here.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about a little bit on the independent living, assisted living, and things like that. And you know, sometimes there's a lot of, I think, naturally, confusion within that realm. But what we're going to start off is in a community like this, it used to be called a senior community. It's really a 55-plus community. And are all the seniors living in a community like this considered independent? But every resident here, you must know somebody who maybe has some struggles, are not as independent as they once were, and perhaps cannot get around or do for themselves as much as they did at one point. Well, I'll get there one day, right?
Correct. And you know, normally when you and I get together, we talk about seniors should be planning ahead. Mm-hmm. Well, today we're going to take a little different spin on it and talk about what happens when people wait too long.
Right.
And they're kind of in crisis mode a little bit. And I think what's really sad is right here in this 55-plus community, there are seniors that are struggling, that have literally become a prisoner of their own home, and they're isolating themselves. And maybe what happened was they went to the hospital, they came back with a walker, and now it's a struggle to go get the groceries, it's a struggle to cook. And if they're lucky, they have an adult child or maybe a friendly neighbor that's helping get groceries for them. But it is tough, and what I see is that people just want to hang on to their home, and they just don't want to move, and it's like their home is everything. I love my home, I love my home, I love my home. And they fail to recognize that they're at a point where they're not even thriving anymore. And I think that's what's really sad. Yeah,
the key word there is thriving, wouldn't you say? Yeah, definitely. And I know you understand this very well, that once in a while people think with communities such as Laguna Woods and others out there, there is that misnomer that it is an assisted living place. Even people who hear about the towers in this community, there's some thought that, is that assisted living? No, you get housekeeping, you get your dinner every night, but it's not an assisted living. And I know you've touched on that many, many times. Now, you talked about, you know, a good-willed neighbor that has a friend or sees someone, an acquaintance that is struggling for whatever reason. And what can a neighbor do? I mean, you can help out to some point.
Well, I want to give them a couple tips today, because we're approaching the holidays, and what can you do? And first thing is to become informed. And I think as any neighbor, and if your neighbor wants to stay in their own home, you want to help them.
Right.
But you know, if you're truly informed and you know what all the options and what all the choices are out there, if you can recognize that maybe, just maybe, there's an opportunity for this person to start thriving again, and maybe offer to take them out and go look at a retirement community or go look at an assisted living. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know if I should take them to retirement community or assisted living. I'm not sure which one they are. So for retirement community, they got to be independent, they're active, vibrant, they take care of their own life, they probably drive their own car, and they are able to manage their own meals, schedule their own doctor's appointments, things like that. When somebody gets to the point where they need assisted living, it's like independent living with 24-hour support, and that's a situation where they need help with everything. They need help with meals, transportation, taking their medications, everything. And so the other tips that when a neighbor goes to take somebody to maybe go look at an assisted living, here's a couple of questions you should ask. How long has the administrator worked here? And 3 out of 4 places you go, typically the answer will be less than a year. And that could indicate management problems. So that's kind of a warning flag. Another one is, how much does the monthly fee go up? And if it's more than 6%, again, that means there's probably some debt on the community, and there's kind of that could be a concern. And then you want to try the food. Try the food with your neighbor. Offer to just go take them to lunch at one of these places, and then see what kind of activity calendar they have, and if your neighbor would really like the activities that are offered there, because you as a neighbor really have an opportunity to transform your neighbor's life by showing them something that could be better so they could thrive again.
Exactly. So what about the pricing? How does that work in an assisted living community?
Pricing is really complicated, and so typically they charge a room and board, and in this area it runs about $3,000 a month. You, other parts of the nation, you might see $2,500, can go up to about $3,500 a month, and then care costs are on top of that.
Okay.
And so in this area, you're probably looking at about $6,000 to $8,000 a month when they add on all the care costs. But when you go in and you're asking, well, how much will it cost for my neighbor to live here? They usually say, well, based on your needs, I think it's this amount. But once they live here for 2 weeks, then we'll really be able to know the care costs. And it's like, what does that mean?
Right, exactly.
What does that mean? And so here's my tip for everybody today. Ask what maximum care costs are. When I was up with my mother-in-law in Seattle and I was looking for assisted living for her, I started asking, what are the maximum care costs? It came back $10,000 a month.
Wow.
One of them was $12,000 a month, and she was living in it on a temporary basis. I'm like, whoa, $12,000 a month? We're moving on to the next place. So there are some places out there that don't base it on levels of care in a point system, and they instead price on an all-inclusive basis.
Okay.
Freedom Village Assisted Living is one of those places. And so the maximum it can be is just over $6,000 a month. No matter how much care that you need, that's the maximum it can be.
Okay.
And so it's very unusual. And I just recently had somebody that came to Freedom Village, and they said, my father is paying over $7,000 a month, and they want to up his monthly fee. How much is it at assisted living at Freedom Village? And when they found out the maximum care costs were just over $6,000, they're like, wow, I want to move my dad. So, if you don't ask a lot of questions, you could end up paying $12,000 a month, which my mother-in-law almost did. Or if you ask a lot of questions and you go to an all-inclusive place, it could just be over $6,000 a month. And so that's a savings of $6,000 a month, and that's a lot of money in a year.
Right. Yeah, that's huge. And as you said, I don't care what it may be. The best advice you can give, whether you're looking at an assisted living place or buying a car, or whatever it might be, ask questions. Don't be afraid. Don't sit back. And I think a good point that can be made that you brought up is somebody may be at the time in their life that they need to have someone with them as sort of an advocate to ask those questions as well. Could be a neighbor, a family member, whatever it might be, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, was to empower children, to empower a neighbor, so that if you see somebody that's struggling, you can read this book, be informed, know what all the choices are, and then know exactly what questions to ask when you're going out there and comparing the options.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. So your book, as we always say, is available on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Which means you can buy the physical book or you can buy the Kindle book. So however you want to do that. And we were talking beforehand, even if you don't own a Kindle device, almost any device, you can download the Amazon Kindle app and get it that way. You can have it just like that, right?
That's right.
Of course, this time of the year, man, you can get Kindles for like $50.
Yes, it's a good gift to give.
Get the Kindle and get the book as well for somebody. You can gift them. Did you know that you can do that?
That's
Did
right.
you know that? Right, you can go on Kindle and gift a book. So there you go. Make sure they have it though, have the Kindle. Good to see you.
All right, good to see you as
Happy
well.
holidays to you. And Diane Masson, your senior housing options. The website is tips2seniors.com, and you can get all that good information right there. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Take care. We'll be right back.